For our next speaker, she is a certified public accountant based in Manila, Philippines. She has more than 20 years of functional expertise in general accounting, audit, taxation, analytics, risk management, and pre sales across the petrochemical, banking, construction, IT, and ERP industries. She is currently the Solutions Consulting Manager for ASEAN. Please welcome Ma'am Gay Law Miranda.
So good morning and welcome everyone. So thank you for joining this webinar. So my name is Gay. I'll be discussing discovering the growth formula for your unbounded growth. So I would like to quickly share Oracle's safe harbor statement. This session is intended for information purposes only and may not be incorporated into any contract. So I was briefly introduced earlier, so I'll just give you a very short background of myself. So I am from the pre-sales solution consulting team in NetSuite, been in NetSuite for over 9 years already with over 20 years of experience in different fields such as accounting, audit, and other ERP business applications. And then I work closely with a team of talented and experienced solution consultants. Together, we provide solution advisory to organizations in adopting leading practices using our NetSuite cloud platform. So I would like to start my presentation by sharing with you a quotation by John Scully. So he is actually the former CEO of Pepsi and Apple. I specifically picked this quotation because it is related to what I will talk about today, which is discovering the growth formula for unbounded growth. So without the right levels of visibility, it is really difficult to ascertain what kind of adjustments need to be made, if any. So are we ahead of the curve? So those are those questions. Does some aspect of your business need attention or intervention? So as what our executives would say, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. So steering a company for an unbounded growth requires an analytical approach with an emphasis on key considerations. Again, it all boils down to 3 considerations. The first one is visibility. What you can see right now are the possibilities in front of you. Second is expansion. What are the things that you can control now, especially with this pandemic? And the third one is agility, knowing the possibilities in front of you and the things you can control, how you can seize these opportunities so that you can own your future. So whichever business you are in, the aim is to quickly adapt or to be resilient, to remain healthy from the business perspective. So let's tackle the first one, which is visibility. So there are 3 insights or 3 areas to focus on. First is business performed historically. So that's the basis of comparing your recent performance. So you can do it 2 to 3 years comparison. And the current one, which is the business now. So you need to have, you need to be updated in terms of the balance sheet, the total assets, with the emphasis also on the liquidity or the cash in hand. In terms of liabilities, you need also to know what are your payments, right? And then the short-term cash requirements, and even what are the risks that you have on the receivables with the current business conditions. And then, of course, you have to think of the expectation. What's the daily sales outstanding that you need to increase? What are the bad debt write-offs that you may also increase? So if you are facing any challenges in deferment of payments and exploring financial options, you need to talk to your local partners or even talk to your in-country account managers in order for you to understand your short-term cash requirements. And the third one here is the spot trends. So that would be, it would be more efficient. In order for you to have quick recovery, you need to know the trends. So you need to have get the accurate, right, the up-to-date financial data. You need also to determine the next steps. With early visibility, it gives you the first mover advantage. With that knowledge, you need to have dialogues to your suppliers. You need also to have dialogues to your landlords or even lenders. So you need to work with them in order for you to have a long-term business growth plans. Having said that, let's take a look of this graph wherein it comes from PwC from April 8, 2020. So in today's world, especially in this pandemic, the top three concerns of CFOs are: the first one is, of course, financial impact of pandemic on operations and future periods and liquidity. And then the second one is the potential global recession. And the third one is the effect of the pandemic on productivity. To summarize that one, the key takeaway of this study is they want to focus on liquidity, right? What are seeing their capital resources, and that's the top concern of the CFOs. So, but despite the financial constraints today, businesses do not want to cut investment in digital transformation. So businesses should be able to manage their business remotely, okay, and digitally. So the transition to digital is a natural consideration, such as e-commerce, cloud solution, or any software as a service. And that is the key here, as you can see here on my slide, is really the digital transformation. And of course, that includes the customer experience and of course, security, which is the privacy of if you're using software as a service or a cloud solution. Then let's tackle on the second aspect or second consideration, which is expansion. So these are the factors, as you can see on my side, that we need to consider for expansion. So we need to have a firm grip over process, performance, and people. So we want to pay attention to the basics if you want to expand. So let's take a look on the process part, which is what are the important checklists under this process part. So this, as you can see that on my slide, the first one is legal and regulatory barriers. So conducting business in foreign markets is achievable if the business is flexible enough to work within the local laws and regulation guidelines. So you need to review aspects such as regulatory, the commitments, the legalities on that. And it is also highly advised that you seek experienced legal counsel for overseas business practices to identify hazards that may cause barriers for your business. So don't skip on the cost of using overseas expert legal counsel. It actually can save you in the long run. The second one here is clear communication. So communicating those priorities is very crucial. So people worried as leaders need to communicate clear goals and objectives. Give the team the right direction on what they need to accomplish. So the third one is during period of growth, some level of inefficiency is tolerable. However, this is the time to contain costs. So it means we need to streamline business processes with no duplicates of efforts. So that means that we need to improve our cash flow in the short term. That means you need to have a better position of your company for quicker recovery in the long term, having this pandemic. And of course, the aim is to need to have unbounded growth. Lastly, for the business processes, some of the business processes are very dependent on a particular individual or individuals in terms of knowledge. So that means it is not sustainable. It's not sustainable practice, having said that one. So the idea here is to move or adopt leading practices configured in the system. So the system does the heavy lifting of driving the business forward. So that means the reports, alerts, reminders, and exception management, which releases user to execute. The second one I have here is performance checklist. So it is essential that the business have this business case which responds to the challenges, adversity, and rewards as you expand overseas. So some strategies to consider are perform a market study to understand the market personality, the economic visibility, the market trends, the financial cost patterns, and the market forecasts. That means you need to analyze unserved or untapped markets your business can venture into. So as we speak to our customers, we realize that the times of lockdown forces the concept of great ideas, right? And of course, executing them, where otherwise they would not have taken this bold step for unbounded growth if this pandemic did not happen. Next one is do a financial visibility study to determine if the move makes sense. You have also, you need to have intellectual property and trademark protection, and making sure the government authorities in that location recognize and protect the business's proprietary needs. Next is partnership and liaison relationship development. So seek guidance and opportunity by engaging a local partnership with an existing client or supplier that would help you in your performance. So let's take a look on the third consideration under expansion, which is people. So people is really the toughest of all, right? I think everyone should agree in this webinar. So let's tackle first the first one. You need to have frequent communication that addresses the concerns of employees, which is generally good management. The second one here is cultural difference. With this, it can determine whether the business is successful or not. If the product or service doesn't add value or meet the desires of the local markets. So there's no need to go sailing, right? So it is really vital to have an intimate understanding about who lives in that community and what they value. So having said that, you need to consider the following. So knowing how to conduct business among local markets is really extremely important. And then, of course, do not underestimate the effects of cultural differences. You must be willing to invest significant time and energy in order to pursue an overseas venture. And then, of course, you need to seek first to understand the culture. The third one is engagement. So we need to reduce in terms of turnover. So doing what you can to retain people will put you in a better position going forward. That's why it's very important to check on the employee turnover. So let's tackle on the third consideration, which is agility. Okay, which is our final consideration in this unbounded growth. So once you're able to manage your short-term issues through visibility and expansion, think how to position your company for unbounded growth with having this agility. So the first one is retask your best and brightest, right? To reimagine or reimage, your products and services. Having said that, what are the examples for that one? So adding different tiers of your products and services, such as premium levels, or shifting to subscription model on some business or some of your products and services, in order to generate recurring revenue. That's one consideration. And the second one is rethink also the pricing strategy, what you currently have. Have different revenue streams, check on your revenue models. The third one is diversity of your suppliers by geography. So think about the lessons we all learned and we are learning from this situation with key supply markets being closed temporarily because of this pandemic. So you have to think of how can it grow if some of the local suppliers are temporarily closed because of the lockdown. So how can we achieve that unbounded growth that we want to achieve? So the next one here is outsource non-core areas of your business, such as IT security, back office system, and free up time and resources to focus on your core expertise. Having said that, let me summarize the three considerations. So as part of my key takeaways, of course, visibility, what you can see right now, keep tight control of the cash and an eagle eye on the balance sheet in order for you to know where you are. And the second one is expansion. What are the things you can control, such as employee, customers, shareholders, and stakeholders? So it is also important to communicate and engage with them. The third one is agility, knowing the possibilities in front of you and things you can control, how you can then seize these opportunities so that you can own your future. So think differently so that when the crisis is over, your company is posed for the success. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you for attending. And if you have further questions, please reach out by emailing to the info@netsuite.com or to our partner ITG. Of course, till next time. Thanks, everyone.